Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to episode 3 of Volleyball Hacks with Jacoby. So today we're going to be talking about blocking. Alright, so hack number 1, jump over, not out. I tell, like, if I ever coach again, or when I was coaching, like club volleyball, I would always tell my girls, like, this is like an instant hack, like an instant fix to getting an actual block. The problem is that you're trying to jump out at the ball instead of being a little bit closer to the net, jumping over and pressing over into their space, because the goal is really just take up space and to press over the net into their space so they have less room to like hit around you. Okay, open your hands. Okay, so you cannot go up and block like this. That's not gonna work. Like, your hands need to be big and over the net. Like, you don't want to be like this, because like doing this, you're making yourself smaller than you actually are, and that's not the point of blocking. You want to take up space, so big hands and press over the net. Next, timing is everything, literally. Okay, so timing is so important because, once again, like, you are trying to block somebody. If they're already up in the air about to hit the ball and you haven't left the ground, you're late. And then vice versa. If you're already up in the air trying to block and they haven't even contacted the ball yet, you're early. Like, you need to time the ball and time to set, time the hitter as best as you can. And honestly, timing just comes with practice and honestly playing like live games. That's how you get your timing down. The next hack is to keep an eye on your hitter. This is very important because if you are just ball watching, which guilty, like sometimes I did do that. I was like, oops, sorry y'all. But if you keep your eye on the ball, you're gonna completely miss out on where your hitter is actually going. Because sometimes people run offensive schemes where they're not always going to be hitting like in their position. Like, they might start there, but then they might move over and they might be attacking out of the middle. If you don't see that, you're screwed because you completely missed where your hitter's going. Now everyone else doesn't know where she is because you're the one who's supposed to be keeping track of her. So it's really important to keep an eye on your hitter and always know where they are. Hack number 5 is to line up on their hitting shoulder when you're trying to block them. If I'm right-handed and you're trying to block me, right? Here's my hitting hand, here's you blocking. Okay, if you're trying to block me and you're over here, you completely missed my arm because I'm gonna just hit right past you because you're not on my hitting arm. But if you're right on my hitting arm, you have a lot more space to work with and a bigger chance of actually blocking me because you're in front of me. And this is really important, especially when the person's left-handed. Like, you do not want to line up on their right hand because that's not the hand they're hitting with. You have to line up on their hitting shoulder and watch their shoulder. Now, some people, you know, if they're really good, they can hit around the block. Like, they can just show you that they're gonna hit this way, but then they're like boop or boop. Like, okay, they're just good. That's good for them. But just line up on their shoulder and just watch where it's going. That's where you want to be. Like, that's your best bet to actually getting a block, because low-key I feel like blocking is like chance. Hack number 6 is just to take up space on the side of the net. I think I said that earlier, but that just means basically pressing over and making yourself as big as possible, because you kind of want to just like imagine that you're like a wall, like a brick wall, and you don't want them to get past you. So the best way to do that is to take up as much space as possible. Like, you want them to feel like they cannot go anywhere. That is what you want when you are blocking somebody. Hack number 7 is to max jump every time. Now, this is easier said than done because, guilty, I honestly did not max jump every single time because I was tired. Okay, a girl was tired. It's obviously best if you max jump because the higher you get, the more you can press over, but don't confuse that with jumping higher is like better, because obviously if you can jump high, it's like, oh good, but if you're jumping up, it doesn't even really matter because you're gonna get used anyways. But if you're jumping up and over, then it's like, oh, that's great. Hack number 8 is to angle your hands inside the court. So meaning, if you're up blocking and you're just like this, like, there's a chance that person can just hit off your outside hand and the ball will go out of bounds and they'll score. If you are blocking them and say they're an outside hitter and you're blocking on the right side, on your side, say you're blocking and you tilt this hand in and make sure this one's facing towards the court, that is almost like a 98% chance that they will get blocked if they hit into you instead of you getting used and them scoring a point. So it's really important to just have your hands angled and make sure that if you do get hit with the ball, that it will go back inbounds and on their side of the court. Hack number 9 is that you want to close your hips to the net. Okay, this is very important. So if you're blocking off the net like this, like, you have no chance of blocking the ball. Like, let's be for real. Okay, but if you're like this and you're square to the net and then you press over, that's the correct blocking form. But you don't want to be like open even in the slightest, because that's just another way that the ball is going to come down and on your side. Hack number 10 is to seal the net, meaning basically just like, once again, like, make sure that you're pressed over, but then also when you're sealing the net, you want to make sure that the person next to you blocking, like y'all are like almost like touching. That's how close you want to be. Like that's how you want to seal the net, because you don't want there to be like a hole in the block, even though that happens sometimes. But if you can help it, you want it to be sealed and nice and over and cohesive. Okay, hack number 11 is to know the difference between like a hard block and a soft block. So when you're hard blocking or normal blocking, honestly, like you're just like this, just like what I've been describing. But there is a such thing as a soft block. Say you're a back row setter or you're just short and you have to block. You can block like this. If you're not jumping high and you're shorter, like you're not gonna be clearing the net exactly. So you're kind of just wanting the ball to come down on you to pop up like that. Hack number 12 is to get your footwork down. Blocking is like honestly like 70% like footwork. It's really important that you're not tripping over yourself to wherever you're going. Also, you have to like know where your hitter is, so you have to be able to stop on a dime and be like, okay, this is where I need to set up for the middle to come close to me, and then we block. Because as a pin hitter, if you're like an outside or right side hitter, you're setting the block up, and the middle's job is just to come to you and close it. So if you're set up in the wrong spot, they're gonna close to you and everyone's screwed because you're not set up in the right spot. So that's really important, is footwork. And now obviously like you can swing block. There's like, I don't even know what the other one's called, like when you just move side to side, like you cross step into your blocking, you can do that, or you can swing block. I'm not gonna get into that because a lot of people teach it differently and it's complicated. Hack number 13 is to make sure that your hands don't drop when you're loading to block. So meaning, you know, when people are standing at the net and they're like this, that means that they're loaded and that their hands are up. Now, if your hands are down and by your side, you are screwed. Because once again, someone can run a really fast offense and you can just be like, oh my gosh, oh no, and then your hands aren't up. You're later than you would have been if your hands were up. So make sure that your hands are up, your elbows are nice and level to the bottom of the tape, and that's how you want to be. Hack number 14 is to not chase the ball, but just make sure you're in the right spot. Because at the end of the day, blocking is like a defensive scheme. So if you're chasing the ball, you're kind of putting everyone else around you in jeopardy because they won't know where to set up. Because as soon as you set up, they kind of form around you, because a block is just taking away an area of the court. If you are supposed to be taking away the middle of the court, but you are chasing the ball and the person's all the way on the outside and you chase the ball and you're all the way out there, and now there's a big gap in the middle of the court where you're supposed to be to block. Now the person hits there, and now what, you know? And hack number 15 kind of goes with number 14. The ultimate goal of blocking is to funnel like the ball to your defender. So basically like you are just kind of like once again, you're literally a blockade trying to block a part of the court, but everyone else is around you. Because usually if they're a good hitter, like a smart hitter, they won't hit right into you, they're gonna hit around you. But the point is that when they hit around you, there's gonna be someone there to defend the ball. Hack number 16 is to stay balanced. If you're off balance, you're gonna be late. Just gonna throw that out there. Because if you even guess wrong, you're gonna be late. Okay, so you need to stay balanced, and then as soon as you see the ball come out of the setter's hand, that's when you go. And honestly, I wouldn't even be watching the setter set. I would be like, okay, there's the ball getting past setter, back to my hitter, and then I see her approaching, that's where I'm gonna go. Instead of watching the ball like, oh wow, like that was a great set, and then they hit it and I'm late because I was watching the ball. Hack number 17 is to use your core. That is so important. When you're pressing over, you have to engage your core, because that's what's gonna keep you pressed over longer. So the stronger your core is, the better, because that's just what's gonna keep you up there firm and strong instead of just like natural, like vertical. Hack number 18, and low-key a pet peeve of mine, do not jump too close to the net. First of all, you might hurt somebody. 2, don't go under the net because you might hurt somebody. And 3, you might hurt yourself, to be real. But it's so important not to jump too close to the net, because you don't want to be in the net. Like you cannot touch the net like with your body, like with a hand, elbow, wrist, like nothing, because they will call that the down ref. They will call that and be like, okay, that was like a net touch on this girl on this team, and the other team will get a point because you touched the net. Like that is a infraction. That is against the rules. Hack number 19, do not stand up when you're blocking. Like I know sometimes you get tired and you're like, do not stand up, because once again, that will make you late. Okay, being late to wherever your hitter is. So you always got to stay ready, always in an athletic stance. That means that your knees need to be bent. Hack number 20 is to be ready for overpasses. Overpasses are like my favorite, because it's like a free hit basically, because it's like perfectly set up for you. It's right on top of the net. But then, you know, some people like they go up and they're like, yeah, they get so excited, and then they hit the ball in the net or they hit the ball out. Like been there, done that. Happens to the best of us. Now, the foolproof way of dealing with an overpass is to swipe instead of hitting the ball. Swiping is really effective. Obviously, like don't like let the ball rest in your hands too long, because they will call that a lift. But swiping, it's a really effective way of moving the ball around and being aggressive instead of like taking a chance with it and like trying to get a highlight reel hit, you know. So swiping is a little bit better, a little safer. If you want to be safe. If you don't want to be safe, swing away. Go ahead. Hack 21 is to keep your wrist firm. So when you're blocking, you don't want to be like a loose noodle, like a... That's not going to do anything, okay? Honestly, they might break your wrist if you do that. So you want to be firm and stiff and press over. You want to be like rigid. You want to be like frozen almost. And then once it hits you or goes around you, that's when you can relax and do your thing, transition, and get ready to hit, blah, blah, blah. Last hack, I think it's number 22, is to shrug your shoulders when you're blocking. So along with engaging your core, you want to be shrugging your shoulders and pressed over like that. It gives you more length and it helps you get more over the net when you're shrugging your shoulders because you're really reaching over the net into their space. That's it for today's video, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments and I'll see y'all in my next video. Bye!